Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where a husband and wife team go over all of the storytelling, world building, and characters of video games because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep, and this is episode 55.
Woohoo! Thanks for joining us.
But before we get into the episode, if you'd like to contact us, you can do that over on Twitter at LoreTogether, through Instagram at LoreTogether, through email at loretogether@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support this podcast and help us reach our goals of console streaming and all that stuff for our live streams, you can do that over on patreon.com/loretogether, where you can pay a per episode pledge and get early access to episodes as well as mini episodes, Q&As, discussions, and other stuff.
Yeah, so for example, we just released our episode talking about non-lore games that we like to play. Also, if you've joined us on our channel in the Boss Rush Discord, so feel free to reach out if you'd like a link where you could talk about exciting things like whether or not you could hear me glaring at Mystic through the microphone, or get ideas about what furniture we love from IKEA. Things like that. You know, the important things that are completely relevant to the topics at hand. Speaking of which, Mystic, you were very good today, as much as I was working from home, keeping me in the dark about what we were recording. The only hint you gave is that you didn't want to say too much because you thought it was something that I would like to play.
So you're not going to know this game. If you know this game, I will be amazed.
Okay.
It's a 2020 game, so pretty recent.
Very recent, yeah.
Considering we've done stuff from the 70s.
Yeah, considering... Well, this is a game that essentially was released while we were doing this podcast.
Yes.
That's pretty recent for us. That's ridiculously recent.
It was developed by Kaizen Gameworks.
I feel like I've heard that name before.
You probably heard stuff similar. It sounds it sounds Japanesey. It's not. I believe it's a UK company.
Kaizen? Okay,
Yeah.
but I feel like I've heard Kaizen somewhere. Not Kaiser Soze, though. Different.
This is an investigation game.
Ooh, okay.
It is called Paradise Killer.
I want to say I've heard this, but there's so many things that have a title called Paradise.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I think of the movie The Phantom at the Paradise, which is just such a campy mess. But no.
Okay.
I have not heard of this game. I'm not going to say I've heard of this game. If I have a, oh my God, I actually heard about this part moment, it's because I read something randomly on Reddit or something.
Yeah.
So.
Simultaneously, this is a very good-looking game with some caveats in my opinion, but apparently
okay.
It is not unusual for the genre.
Oh.
It looks like it was dipped into a liquefied 1980s music video.
Nice. Is it of the vaporwave aesthetic then?
Yes, and so is the soundtrack.
Yeah, I love me vaporwave.
But despite the extremely colorful visuals, this game is dark.
Well, kind of so is vaporwave, depending on how you look at it.
It's played in a lot of dead malls.
Does anybody else know that Dead Mall series where basically it's just a photographer who goes with a camera and sneaks around trying to show like these malls that are dying or dead, that are half empty and barely invested in? It's crazy because when you live in Chicagoland, you don't really have that issue, especially
Right.
like we used to live close to one of the malls with the most storefronts in America.
Yep.
Which is
Woodfield
Mall out in Schaumburg. That's like still thriving. That's still a pretty decently managed, maintained, and worth your time mall last time I checked.
It's been a while.
Last time I checked was 2019. Okay, so I'm going to shut up now.
So this game crossed my radar when it was included in a Humble Choice bundle I picked up in July 2021.
Oh, okay.
Initially, I grabbed it but just wrote it off as some weird visual novel.
Right.
And promptly put it back on the proverbial shelf for some time in the future. Mm-hmm. My initial impression was quite wrong.
Wow.
It's actually a open world detective game.
Open world detective game.
Yes.
So is this kind of like, there seems to be this little resurgence of kind of like indie games that kind of do the cyberpunk genre, but with a 2020 lens. So, and
I wouldn't say it's cyberpunk. It's definitely steeped in a lot of mysticism and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think of it, it just makes me think of it just because there's this kind of idea of that genre, like that Blade Runner genre, had some good ideas, but we want to get away of like the problematic parts of it, like the Orientalism stuff. Right. And there are definitely some indie developers who are trying to go in that genre. But what you're telling me is this is kind of on a different tangent entirely.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's really kind of hard to figure out where to even start with this game, as it's kind of a bit bonkers in the world building and the lore.
Yeah.
There's stuff we have info on.
Okay.
But I might have not been able to parse all the correct info due to the stylized writing and gameplay. This episode's been particularly difficult.
So feel free to add us. Like, we're not above any pride to know that we might have accidentally reported something wrong. So at Lore Together on Twitter, or email loretogether@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear, and maybe even put somewhere some error and errata if we have to.
Yeah.
And also, we're going to play it on the live stream the Thursday after this release. So feel free to pipe in then on YouTube.
Basics of the game. You play as an investigator who is tasked with investigating the crime to end all crimes. Someone has murdered the Council of Paradise, hence the name.
Wait, how many people are on the Council of Paradise?
9.
All 9 of them?
Yes.
Just dead.
Just as they reach the culmination of their task, and you have to figure out who and how. That is a very basic explanation.
Yeah, and what task are they culminating to?
We will get to that in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
I'm giving you this now so that what comes through the rest of this episode, you have some grounding that sounds realistic.
But this sounds like this might be a game more about the idea and the vibes than it is about the truth of it all. Okay.
Paradise is in its own reality.
Okay.
So not everything is going to make sense from our view.
So when we say its own reality, it's
in a pocket dimension.
In a pocket dimension. Perfect. Okay. I can grasp that.
Yeah. It appears as an island. It regenerates every few millennia.
Oh.
And the reason it has to regenerate, you ready for this one?
No, I'm never going to be ready for it.
In this world, there are powerful gods who, before they were betrayed and destroyed by humanity, bestowed special powers onto their followers. A group of pious servants are devoted enough that the said gods saw fit to put them in a pocket dimension that they rule over completely.
This is some Call of Cthulhu level crazy, with a little hint of primal rage fighting game mechanics.
Here's why the island has to regenerate, though. The psychic power that these alien worshippers within Paradise release into the universe that is meant to feed and eventually resurrect these fallen alien deities.
This is so Call of Cthulhu. Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately has the undesired effect of drawing interest from demons who eventually corrupt each island until a new alternate reality is birthed by the council.
So this has a little bit of Call of Cthulhu, a little bit of culty worship, kind of in that vein, but also a little bit of the Matrix, with the idea that to sustain itself, everything has to almost die and then regenerate by a small group of people who are given that power by some overlord. Instead of it being the robots that we have designed to kill ourselves with, it's the gods that designed us to worship them.
And they do all kind of look like eldritch horrors or disfigured or whatever.
I am so glad that I watched so much analysis stuff on YouTube. My brain got to that level with less fanfare than trying to understand the last episode's political structure of a terrorist organization. That's just where we are right now.
Great.
When it's in Sappy
You
Land.
grasped this better than I did.
No. This has just enough description for me to not poo-poo on it. Like, that is very impressive considering how much poo-pooing I do on this podcast.
Each time they birth a new reality, it's better, quote, closer to perfection, less susceptible to demon incursion.
Fitter, happier.
The next one, which is the 25th Paradise, is the final perfect one, supposedly.
Okay.
It is at that moment when the creation of this new perfect reality was birthed. Basically, the council meditates on it and creates it.
Oh, boom. It's kind of like that season 1 episode of Lower Decks.
Yeah.
I've become one with everything. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is awful.
So at that moment is when they were killed.
So the universe they're supposed to make is already created.
Yes. And the old one is still there, kind of stuck now.
Like, well, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of like when you're on a date and then your date goes, "Oh, I'm going to see you," and she literally goes to the next table over because she's decided to start a new date, and you're just there with
And
the
amazingly,
bill and a coffee.
I already have a continuity problem based on telling you that sentence
Yeah.
later on, which we'll get to.
Okay. Cool. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together because apparently I'm in it to win it with this one. Like, as much as there should be issues, there's just part of me that's completely chill with this.
Right. So there's a good chunk of the weirdness out of the way right there.
Cool.
And we're going to get darker as we go. We play as Lady Love Dies.
Okay, now I have a problem.
You're going to hate the names in this one.
Now I'm gonna have a Lady Love Dies.
Every single name in this sounds like Metal Gear Solid went vaporwave.
Okay. We're gonna have some things to say about the names. I like the crazy head trip we're about to go on, except for the names. You couldn't just think of something that sounded ancient and weird, but also cool, like Mordecai, and instead you.
We get some of that weird stuff too.
Okay, but instead it's like Lady Love Dies.
Oh, it gets. There is even weirder stuff I forgot to write down. Like, everybody's born under a different sign, and her sign is "Kiss Me to the Moon."
Oh my gosh.
And so when people say goodbye to you,
yeah,
they say to her, "May you reach the moon." Like, there's levels to the craziness and bonkers that I'm not even going to delve into.
I'm kind of in it. I'm in it to win it. This is just so bizarre. This feels like the kind of thing. So for those of you who may know, I used to do live action role play for the, like Vampire, the Requiem, Vampire the Masquerade kind of stuff. Those
I tried it once, not for me.
World of Darkness games is what I was trying to get to. And this is the kind of thing where the friends that I made through that, after game, would be talking at a diner and something would come up and it was like, you know what that reminds me of? And then they would mention this game. Like, it's the kind of head trip that we'd intentionally have for fun, So
Lady Love Dies is one of these pious people this reality was made for. She was the chief investigator for the Syndicate. We'll get to them momentarily.
Okay.
But she was exiled for eternity for the crime of being deceived by a god.
I mean, I guess if you're going to get fired, being bad at your job is a good reason to be actually fired.
Like, she was also, I forget the name off the top of my head, and it's further down my notes. I don't want to scroll down and lose my place. But she was also, like, the leader of the squad that prevents that from happening. And, like, she got deceived still.
Oh,
I forget
wow.
what it's called. It's Psycho something. But basically, all these gods are not good. Well, they're not. None of them are good. Nobody is good in this game.
It's all just varying shades of gray, essentially.
No, it's all varying shades of dark.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Lady Love Dies and a couple other characters can be good depending on player actions, but as a whole, none of these are good people.
A lot of selfish desires, I assume, and things like that.
I'm judging that based off of our view, but you have to remember that this is a weird reality.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's fair.
So she was sentenced during Island Sequence 13. So we were on 24, 25 was just birth. She was sentenced back on 13.
Oh my gosh. She's got a lot to prove because it's been what is it? Eons now?
3 million days. 8,220-ish years, plus there's some extra days. It's more than 3 million, but we're looking at over 8,000 years, definitely.
So, okay. Wow. Literal eons.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is brought back from exile by Judge to investigate the murder of the council.
Okay, Judge, so...
Judge is at least that makes sense.
That's a solid name. I'll keep it, yeah.
The Syndicate are the ruling class of this reality.
Cool.
They are the pious individuals that were gifted eternal life, and they move to each new island sequence.
So they're guaranteed a spot in each iteration of this island.
Yeah, they literally just move.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They can be killed, obviously.
Sure.
The council's dead.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. Like...
Oh, yeah, no.
The Syndicate are the ones who worship these alien god beings. However, they're particularly blood-hungry god beings. And so you also have citizens.
AKA sacrifice fodder.
Yes, the citizens are where things get really dark. Citizens are abducted from the real world by the Syndicate.
So Island phases in, Syndicate goes, they're like, hey, I see this person I like that's, let's say they're just off the coast of Spain.
Yeah.
On a party boat at the coast of Spain, just a little drunk, just drunk enough that they might accidentally fall off a boat. Boop, Syndicate takes him and brings him to their reality.
Pretty much.
Oh,
I don't know.
man.
I don't know if exactly how it works, but yes, they are abducted from Earth. They're basically made to be forced labor, slaves, and basically forced to worship these gods.
Right.
And then, to make it all worse, they are all sacrificed before the next reality is created, as their life energy is used to get the Syndicate to the new island sequence.
You know, I play a specific game that has a lot to say about blood magic.
It's not a good idea usually.
There's just a lot of things that you shouldn't be doing, and
Right.
blood magic is just one of them.
Yeah. But there's no mixing of the message. None of the Syndicate are good people. They
Right.
all get through based on this.
So essentially, as long as you're willing to continue to sacrifice strangers off of Earth
Right.
for the desire of these gods' power,
Right.
and this continued hope towards finally having them rule the universe again.
Right.
Yeah. So
But we're also talking the same morality as vampires.
that's definitely some Call of Cthulhu
Yeah.
level. But this is a lot more organized than what usually you see with a Call of Cthulhu, because Call of Cthulhu is usually very much like very small
Yeah.
cults.
Yeah.
Like, you only need a couple of people to get this ritual off the ground. We're talking about epic level. We've organized a society.
I believe Island Sequence 24 had 3,000 something citizens.
It is an organized society based entirely on bringing these gods back.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so far in all this time, they've managed one.
To bring one god back.
Yes. I'm not even going to get into the gods in this episode. There's too much other names and people to go through.
I'm really just impressed that there was an indie developer who put this much thought in a world that we can explore without spoiling that much of the game. Like, we're not even going to get into the gods. I'm really happy about that.
But we're not going to judge him for the crimes of abducting people and sacrificing them. That's just this reality. And we're talking over eons. We can't judge him based off of that.
I mean, I'll say this.
Within the context of the game, like, you are not the investigating the morals of the Syndicate in this regard. We are here to find out who is guilty of quite a few actual crimes in the world.
Right.
All related to the murder of the council in some way.
Okay.
And the suspects are many, and the clues and the dialogue are all up to the player. You can literally just turn around as soon as you get your mission and be like, all right, let's start this trial.
So
I don't know if you actually can immediately, but you can determine when the trial happens, and whether you're ready or not, it'll happen. There is no one saying you don't have enough information.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate them being like, look, not every cop is good. If you want to be a bad cop, be a bad cop. Do a bad job. See what happens.
So we have a lot of characters to get through.
Wow. And who's ready for the nouns? I am.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the craziness that is the Syndicate.
Okay.
So the Syndicate is composed of 24 individuals, 9 of which make up the council and are now dead.
Right. So, wow, that's a third of the population essentially just gone.
The leader of the Syndicate is Leader Monserrat.
Monserrat.
Yeah, the Syndicate's glorious leader. He formed the Syndicate with his mentor Ezekiel.
Okay.
Monserrat became the leader of the Syndicate when he killed a crazed Ezekiel.
Wow.
Some iterations later, and saved the Syndicate from darkness. Basically, this is before they found out about the demons coming in and everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gabriella Devotion.
No.
You're going to hate this part. Hailing from North Africa, high priestess.
Wait. We're going to have to pause here, guys. First of all, how dare you in the middle of Black History Month come to me with this nonsense? What country? Just North?
Just North Africa.
Okay, so
I couldn't even find information on this character on the wiki. I had to find it in like a discussion group.
So you give her a bad name, and you can't even bother to name a country on the whole continent of Africa. You just say, well, it's somewhere north. Well, guys, there's a lot of countries that are in the north of one of the largest continents on the planet. Come on. Okay. All right. We can move on. I just need to acknowledge the problematic nature of that. Okay. Moving on.
Hailing from North Africa, High Priestess Gabriella Devotion is seen as a mediator between the Syndicate and the gods. Only certified priests are allowed to communicate with the gods, since communing with astral deities opens passages in space, which demons can pass through.
Right, so you've got to manage those passageways.
Yes.
So considering the secret nature, this is more like a speakeasy, and she's the person at the door with the password.
Pandora 2.
No! Get out with these names!
Pandora 2...
No, Pandera would have been better.
Pandora 2 established the Dead Nebula Company early in the Syndicate and became the only goods manufacturer on the island.
Dead Nebula Company really just needs to be making stuff out of literal dust. Please.
In conjunction with Masahiro Heavy Industries, she established the Deep Factory in the sprawling caverns under the islands.
The what factory?
The Deep Factory.
The
There's a lot.
DEEP?
Yeah. There's a lot of places in this game.
So I imagine there's a head shop called the Deep Factory. That's all I got. That's all I got.
You're going to hate this next one.
Oh, yeah, I am so ready for it. Who's ready for this ire?
Kafka Memory.
No. Get out. Get out. Just call him Dead Roach Appleback. Come on.
Kafka Memory was a founding member of the Syndicate and conceived the plan to mass abduct citizens from the real world and bring them to the island. A cold-hearted man that grew increasingly introverted over the millennia.
You kind of have to if you're going to convince yourself that these people are deserving of being treated like worse than cattle. Sure.
Right.
Well, yeah, I hate that name so much. These names are awful.
Lunatic Pope.
Okay, that one I'm okay with, though.
Second in command to Gabriella and handles most of the day-to-day running of the religious aspects of the Syndicate.
Okay. An administrative task. It's with a title like Pope, I can understand that.
They were born in the 5th sequence and advanced into the council through selfless devotion and a brain for interpreting bureaucratic aspects of the gods' dogma.
That's really Catholic of them. Can I just say that? It's super Catholic.
Fine Stranger.
No! You can't name this person something that you would find in a 1980s click adventure game. Let's talk to that fine stranger over there, and you click to the animation, and it is a fine stranger. They've just got a nice coat and a top hat. Like, that's literally
a mystery to almost all in the Syndicate and the Council. It is unknown where he came from, responsible for reading tomes during council meetings.
Okay.
We have not a lot on most of these characters beyond the fact that they're dead.
Right.
So, Leon Disaster.
No, that is somebody's first D&D character name.
Early in the Syndicate, the need for a currency arose. Disaster found a way to harden blood into crystals.
Okay, are we literally trying to say that capitalism is a disaster? Is that what we're literally trying to say? Not even capitalism, monetary policy, fiat money is a disaster. Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, it was then decided that only his blood would be used so as not to flood the market.
Fiat money is a disaster. That is exactly what the producer of this game is saying, whether they mean to or not. I called it.
Macon Origin.
No! Macon Origin? What? Please tell me Macon is spelled, though, M-A-C-O-N?
M-A-K-E-N.
No. No, Macon Origin sounds like a really bad, rapper name an 8th grader gave themselves. No.
Macon took over Masahiro Heavy Industries, and Masahiro himself was murdered by the mad leader Ezekiel, which also Ezekiel is spelled E-Z-E-Q-U-I-A-L.
Oh, but they couldn't bother to spell Macon like the actual name M-A-C-O-N, or like Macon, Georgia. What the heck?
Since then, Macon has used her flair for industrial design to grow...
Oh, it's a she? I'm so confused and lost here. Not that matters in the long run, but just... Never mind. I'm so confused.
We're going to subtitle this, Safi hates all the names.
All the names. No. Lunatic Pope was fine. Let's give credit where credit is due.
Lady Love Dies isn't too bad either.
Now that I know all the other names, you know what? I hate it less.
Since then, Macon has used her flair for industrial design to grow Masahiro Heavy Industries and adapt to the changing needs of the Syndicate. She is responsible for the maintenance of the Syndicate's power source, the reality folding drive, which we do get to visit.
Okay.
All of these people are dead.
So these are all the 9 people that were murdered.
There's one more left, but these are all the ones who were murdered. There's one more.
There's one more dead person?
Yes. Eyes Kiwami.
No, I can't, but okay.
Born in a remote area of India and came to the Syndicate during the Great Betrayal. So the Great Betrayal is when the humans turned on the gods and killed them or incapacitated them or whatever.
Yeah.
During that Great Betrayal is when everyone fled to join the Syndicate, who was a devout follower.
Yeah.
After saving Doom Jazz, which is a character we'll get to soon.
Doom Jazz? Doom Jazz is a genre of music that only 5 people listen to on Apple Music or Spotify. You cannot Doom Jazz.
Oh, it gets even better. Wait till we get to his actual entry.
What does Doom Jazz look like?
So here's the fun thing. So all these characters we've done so far, except for Leader Monserrat,
Yeah.
have no like character artwork. They're just kind of bodies you find.
They're a concept. Okay.
All the other ones have artwork, and this is when I said earlier that one part of the graphics I don't like.
Yeah.
Everybody is literally a 2D sprite that rotates to face you. But apparently this is not uncommon in some games. One of the more popular recent ones, I think it's called Danganronpa.
Yes.
Does that as well. So it's not unknown.
Yeah.
It threw me for a loop when I first saw it, and I'm like, oh, this is lazy.
Danganronpa, that would be one that'd be worth you researching, because I think that's literally a game where you have to break the code as part of the win state of the game. But anyway, yes, that is very popular, and it wouldn't bother me as much as I'm sure as it bothers you.
Well, it doesn't bother me the fact that there's only so much artwork. So indie developer, I think it's like 2 people, maybe it's like a small team.
So it's 2 people. So neither one of these people looked to each other and said, "So these names, I thought they were placeholders, right?" Like
I think they're supposed to be a little kind of silly and not. I think it's supposed to be kind of that tongue-in-cheek like weirdness.
Okay.
These are not new guys to the industry, though. They have a couple decades between them. This is just,
cool.
They've started this company, and this is their first
project. Out of Kaizen. Okay.
Anyway, Eyes Kiwami. I'll start eyes over.
Thanks.
Born in a remote area of India and came to the Syndicate during the Great Betrayal. We covered that briefly already. After saving Doom Jazz from torture, the 2 chased after the newly formed Syndicate as they made their way through Mesopotamia. Eyes Kiwami took his own life several years ago. It is unknown why.
So wait, Eyes Kiwami was part of the 9.
Yes.
And already took his life, and the other 8 were essentially able to finish the work without him?
Apparently, yes.
Okay. So they choose 9 to do it, but they probably could get away with like 7 or 6 people. Probably. Okay. Which, you know what? That's just smart organizational structure. You know, I'm surprised that people named things like Gabriella Devotion and Doom Jazz have been able to figure this out.
Okay, so we already covered the rest of this. We already covered the first person of the rest of the Syndicate, Lady Love Dies.
Yes.
She's us. She's an investigator. She was in exile. She's brought back by judge to investigate. Mm-hmm. Next up is Lydia Daybreak.
Not as annoying. It sounds like actually something from a soap opera.
Right.
Back in the 70s.
Currently the Syndicate's fairy woman and used to be an assassin.
Oh, okay, cool.
She is a good friend of Love Dies and is also married to Sam. We'll get to him in a second.
What's Sam's last name?
Daybreak.
Okay. I just needed to be sure.
She can be found on the pier at Danchi. Sam Daybreak, currently a bartender, but used to be an assassin. This is not a theme for everybody, just these 2.
Yeah, and also, isn't that like the stereotypical like bartender and kind of a weird setting?
Yeah.
You know, the very much kind of on the same par of like I used to be an adventurer and then I took an arrow to the knee.
He can be found outside his bar, Knife Through the Heart.
What?
That's the bar name, Knife Through the Heart.
Oh my gosh, you scared me. I was like, there's another murder?
No. Well, yes, but no.
That's not the other murder. Okay.
Dr. Doom Jazz.
Dr. Doom Jazz?
All these characters have great artwork, too.
I just have that saxophone solo, that do, 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 that one that goes on loop everywhere.
And then death metal starts playing.
It's just, Doom Jazz.
Or
Why?
it's jazz, but the singer is a death metal singer.
Oh, God, can you imagine like an Ella like a cover of an Ella Fitzgerald song like that?
Someone's going to post it in the Discord now.
Please. You know what? Please, I want to hear it. I hope it's epic. I just can't.
So Dr. Doom Jazz is the Syndicate's head doctor, and he can be found outside of his yacht.
Doctor on a yacht? Okay, that's less upsetting to me than the name Doom Jazz. Okay.
The player can potentially flirt with and have a one-night stand with him during the game.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so what, is he cute or something? Or
everybody in this game is ridiculously hot.
Okay.
Like, that's one of the most common things of people reviewing the artwork or reviewing whatever.
I guess if you're going to be immortal, you might as well be pretty as well, because then what's the point? I don't know.
This is Dr. Doom Jazz.
Guys, Dr. Doom Jazz, man, he gets around. He just gets a look at that pose. There's so many teenagers crushing on that guy right now in this moment. Like, you have to, okay, so for those of you who can't see it, Dr. Doom Jazz is standing like his feet apart, his hands behind his head, out like this, showing off his pecs with this spiky pink mohawk. His arms look robotic.
They are.
Yeah, they're robotic. He's got like this skull shawl thing hanging out, like just toyingly, like right near where the nipples of his pecs would be. Like, he gets some of whatever he wants.
And here's Lydia
Daybreak. She looks cool. I'd be friends with her. See, the problem is I'm not attracted
here's
to
Sam
women.
Daybreak.
Sam Daybreak is a skeleton. Like, there's just no getting around that. He's a skeleton with a shirt.
But a hot skeleton. Like,
I mean, stranger things have happened, guys. Yeah. Like, I guess, I don't know. It's hard for me to find a skeleton that's hot. My husband's the opposite of a skeleton, so I can't get into it. Okay, right, now so I'm liking this art style too. I like it, but it's just funny. You know who I thought was going to be the skeleton? Dr. Doom Jazz. Right. That's why I'm so confused. But no, it's Sam Daybreak, former assassin. Okay. Who's now a bartender. Skeleton bartender. That's a good take. I'll give you that. All right.
Next up.
Yeah.
Witness to the End. I think this is a self-given name.
Witness to the End. So this sounds like also a reference to, what was it? Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, where there is literally the...
I think this one is symbolic because he is the overseer of the end of each sequence.
Okay.
So he is the witness to the end of each sequence. So it's kind of like...
He makes sure everybody signs out in the book and everything.
He is a completely religious fanatic about the gods, though.
Oh, okay.
To the point that, like, he thinks everyone else is falling away from where they should be.
Okay.
Like, yeah, we're talking like he is a true believer.
It's kind of a zealot, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys. So now Mystic keeps showing me the pictures. This is like a mix of, like, if C-3PO could get it, but also was wearing the outfit that the Jesus wears in The Big Lebowski, but then he got a drag queen to get the right sash and collar frills on it.
Yeah, and he also has like runes carved into his skin.
Runes carved into his skin. It's just, this is so insane. This is such an insane aesthetic, and I'm here for, like, these...
With the artwork, does the weird names at least make sense aesthetically?
The weird names piss me off so much less now that I know that they're accompanied with these weird... It is supposed to be a caricature.
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to take it seriously from what I can see. Now that I know that you're not supposed to take it seriously, I'm less mad at it. Now, Dr. Doom Jazz is still... I still can't get over it.
Carmelina Silence.
Carmelina Silence is a chocolate bar, right?
Carmelina Silence is the architect of the island sequences and the temporary leader of Island Sequence 24. Basically, everyone else is dead. Carmelina and her family were barred from becoming part of the council, though, due to her father, Romeo Silence, being deceived by cosmic deceit, one of the gods.
Okay, so you've got to have your wits about you if you want to keep power in the Syndicate.
And she looks fairly normal.
Okay, she looks traditionally attractive with like a cute little short haircut and a nice slinky like dress with a cool kind of...
And a dog.
Checkerboard pattern. And she has a dog. She's like, you'd go out to... Like, for me, she's the kind of person I'd probably go out to brunch with.
Grand Marshal Akiko 14.
14. So now we've got numbers?
So, some of my research for this game actually came from tvtropes.com.
Oh, no.
And because I could not find out anywhere what the Great Betrayal was.
Oh, wow.
And again, parsing through the game itself is kind of difficult. I'm still kind of shocked at like the aesthetic of everything.
Okay.
And the fact that you can go anywhere. That I haven't quite dug my teeth into the lore in game.
Okay.
So to find out what the Great Betrayal was, I just went to Google and it led me to TV tropes where they had the war that's not on screen, and they talk about the Great Betrayal and how the humans turned against the gods and everything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Grand Marshal Akiko 14 is also on there because there is no 1 through 13. It's just, if it happened, we have no record of it. It's just number for number's
There's
sake.
an illusion of there was a
Yeah.
sequence, but we really don't know. Okay.
She is the Grand Marshal who leads the Marshal Guards. They're the ones who basically protect everything. She has had relationships with many of her guards and believes they deserve to become immortal because basically she has new ones every single sequence. She doesn't
Okay.
want them all to be killed each sequence. She wants them to come with her.
She wants a harem? Is that what that sounds like? I don't know. Or she just likes them and that's what it... Okay. She looks pretty rad, guys. She's got kind of that anime armor aesthetic with a really big... That kind of sword, would you call it like a... What is it called? A kurta? Like that It's a curved sword, but it's definitely...
I have no idea.
It's not a scimitar. It's the blade itself like has a curve outward. I don't know. But yeah. So maybe kind of... No, not a machete. But yeah, she looks cool.
Yeah, there's a few more. This one is the one that threw me when I first saw them.
Okay.
Crimson Acid.
Crimson Acid.
The Syndicate's idol. Basically, everyone is supposed to want to be like her, be with her. They sell dates with her.
Crimson Acid is definitely also a name that I thought would be more masculine too, but you know, I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, the dates never get given out though.
Yeah.
She's also an information broker.
Oh.
She was formerly a soldier and kind of misses that life, but she's forced to become an idol by the council after she was blessed by the gods.
Oh, okay.
Guess how she was blessed by the gods?
Okay, guys. So she's wearing. So okay, Mystic. Just let me walk through this. Woman, pink pantsuit deal.
Mm-hmm.
Buxom.
Yes.
Not trying to hide that, you know, she's buxom, but we're
No.
not breaking any PG-13. So just your eyes go up. Oh, nice curves. Oh, nice attractive lady. Oh, and then there's a ram's head.
Yep. She was blessed by the gods with a goat head.
With a goat head.
And she was not born this way. This happened.
The god said, "Oh, we really like you. Have this goat's head instead." Okay. So you know, that it would be nice to have an opinion of what kind of head I should have.
And this goat's head happened after Lady Love Dives was put into exile. So it's like,
oh my gosh. Oh, Crimson Acid. It's so nice to what the heck?
Pretty much.
Okay. That's hilarious. I love
she
it.
currently lives in the sewers.
What? But with that pantsuit, it looks pristine.
A clean area of the sewers.
Okay.
Basically just so she has private time, because there are literally posters and everything of her everywhere.
Oh, so she's one of the things that's easily worshipped by the civilians, essentially. The citizens, excuse me.
Yuri Knight.
Yuri Knight doesn't bother me, even outside of the aesthetic. So.
Right. Carmelina's secretary and Lydia's handler.
Okay.
Due to being born on Island Sequence 15 after Love Dies' exile, Yuri first meets Love Dies during Paradise Killer. This is the first time we meet them.
Okay.
He despised his parents due to them having no ambition or drive, and he couldn't see himself not having power in the future. Basically, a bit power hungry.
Okay.
Really kind of a jerk.
He does have that jerk face, too. So.
Yeah.
So he is handsome. Like, he's somebody, if you do hate makeouts, like, that's something you could do. And it's made super easy by the fact that he's decided his shirt should only go, like, right above his pecs and not cover anything. And then he has pants. And also, he's got that...
Low-riding pants.
Yes. Yes, we have to know how well-defined those abs and the side muscles are, you know. Yeah.
Okay, so now we have people we don't have any pictures for at the moment.
Look, it's fine. Now that I know what these characters look like, I am less mad about the names. So I will cool my heels on that.
First is, I was going to say Isaiah, but no, it's Isaiah? Isiah? Isaiah Bullet. Love Dies ex-husband.
Awkward. So wait, did they get divorced when she got exiled, I'm
Pretty much.
assuming? Okay.
And Madame Complex's current boyfriend. We'll get to Madame Complex in a minute.
Wait, there's somebody named Madame Complex who has like a partner, a life partner?
Isaiah and Love Dies started dating in high school and eventually got married, but they ended up splitting up when she was exiled.
Right.
He procures conditions and distributes citizens on the island.
Okay.
He is already on Perfect 25.
Wow.
So here's, before when I said the council is dead,
Yeah.
right at the point of creation, they may have covered this, or it could be my misunderstanding of the timeline. I'm willing to accept that. Literally that same day, like within hours,
Yeah.
you are called back from exile to start your investigation. So Perfect 25 was just created and already people have gone there, despite the fact there's an investigation and the council's dead. So I may be misunderstanding the timeline, or I might be forgetting stuff because we're not going to get into we are not going to get into the actual conspiracies and crimes. Some people we've already mentioned are guilty of something.
Right, I figured. Well, so here's the thing I'll say, and I'll say why this doesn't bother me as much as, like, you know, last episode's issue with the political structure.
It doesn't fully bother
that.
me because
Yeah.
we're dealing with wooey mystic
It
stuff
doesn't
and-
bother
yeah.
me because on an organizational standard, if you're moving from an old office to a new office, you need somebody to maintain that new office if you're paying rent, right?
Okay, fair.
Like, you can't just be like, oh, I made a new pocket dimension. I'm just going to trust it's going to stay there. No, that's not. I would not in this universe think that that's how all pocket dimensions work, considering all the other things they have to do to protect the current one they're in. So yeah, I'm willing to concede that there's a little bit of like already transfer from 24 to 25 pocket
Okay.
dimension. Yeah.
Nicolina Rose works directly under Pandora 2 to manage the Dead Nebula operations.
Okay.
Responsible for negotiating all Crimson Acid collaborations. Basically,
Oh yeah. Okay. So she's Crimson Acid's agent practically.
yeah. Already on 25 as well.
Right.
Jaheim Fortune maintains the Syndicate graveyard on top of the mountain. Responsible for all funeral rites conducted for Syndicate members. He is also, I think it's a he, also on Perfect 25.
Okay.
Madame Complex. We mentioned her already. She is the Syndicate gardener.
Okay.
She has already moved with, I say, a bullet to 25. Balthazar Tears.
Balthazar Tears sounds like the sequel to Malort.
That's too local.
Because
Explain that one.
Just okay. Quick explanation. Actually, it's was it Drep and Stone, one of the podcasts we also follow on the socials, had Malort the other day on their Instagram. I said, as a Chicagoan, I have to say I'm sorry. So Malort is a liqueur that nobody should drink, and the only reason people drink it is because their advertising strategy was to say it is a Chicago liqueur. So people are like, oh, when I go to Chicago, I should have Malort. And then Malort became the way you tell somebody, I never want to speak to you again.
So Balthazar Tears is the leader for Masahiro Heavy Industries, working under Macon Origin, responsible for the God Bruiser nuclear weapons.
God Bruiser nuclear weapons? It's only does a bruise? Okay.
And he's already on 25 as well.
Okay.
All right. Now, there's a couple more that are kind of interesting. So, KHX.
KHX, this sounds like a theater sound system.
Right. The Syndicate's craftsman. However, by the time Love Dies has come out of exile, he has disappeared, and one of the things we must solve is his disappearance.
Wow.
He is infatuated with Crimson Acid, as shown by the various posters of her he has in his workshop.
Goat head and all.
This person has two names.
No, come on. You can't, in a game where people are named things like Dr. Doom Jazz, you can't.
No, well, there's a reason.
Okay.
One Last Kiss and Grace Bloodlines.
Okay, you gotta explain this.
She's the Syndicate's exorcist, formerly known as Grace Bloodline.
Okay.
She was murdered 10 years before the events of Paradise Killer, but she comes back as a ghost under the name of One Last Kiss.
Whoa, okay. They have ghosts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You can find, like, ghosts of citizens.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is way too haunted. Oh my gosh.
When I was playing, I found a citizen, I can't remember the name, if they even gave us a name, but I found a citizen who just wanted me to find a rock.
Yeah.
There's like a specific rock that fell out of like a ring or something. So I had to find that and bring it back to them so that they could, be at peace.
Right. Okay.
And the last of the Syndicate, well, not really the Syndicate anymore, is Judge.
Okay.
Judge, at some point, we have no idea of who Judge was, because at some point Judge surrendered their humanity and fused themselves with this island to become a arbiter of justice.
Wow. Interesting.
So they believed in this so strongly that they basically scrubbed their entire humanity, their ego, everything from the world.
To maintain the island.
Yeah.
But also be an arbiter.
Yes.
Okay.
Judge also looks really weird.
Judge basically looks like if a pillar of rock decided to grow arms and a soul. That's kind of the aesthetic going on there.
Yeah, it's like 4 arms gripping each other and then 3 heads on a mask. It's weird.
Right. Well, I mean, and I guess it's kind of like a play on like not only like Janus where you're looking behind and ahead, but also kind of like the scales where the scales are supposed to weigh it, and it's more kind of like, no, I'm supposed to see it all. I'm supposed to see everything.
Lastly, we have one lone citizen still alive on the island. All the rest have been sacrificed.
Wait, and this one got away?
Henry Division, a citizen born to Rena Division 27 years ago. He struggled to apply himself in school, and he eventually became aware of demonology and became interested in occult mathematics.
Interesting.
Because of this, he was eventually possessed by a demon.
Oh, no.
Under that possession, he killed his mother.
Whoa.
He is the prime suspect in the death of the council, a fact that we are told right at the beginning.
So that means he didn't do it. Almost guarantees he didn't do it. At least to me.
We are going to run through the very basics of the story now.
Okay.
Without giving away endings or who did what.
Okay.
Or if they did anything.
Oh, okay.
The crux of this game is you making your own conclusions based off of what people tell you. The order in which you tell people things, the order in which you investigate things does change what information you can get.
Right. Okay.
Lady Love dies. We start off in her bedroom in the Idle Lands, which is the location she was exiled to. It's way above in the sky.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she's totally exiled. Like, not even part of humanity, it seems.
Right. In the doorway of her bedroom, she first encounters Shinji. Shinji is a demon.
Ooh.
There's Shinji.
I'm sorry, what? So, you remember VCRs? If one bred with the thing, and then you took an infrared picture of it, that's what I'm seeing right now.
I mean, the dog snout and everything, and...
Yeah, specifically the thing trying to mimic life, but instead of it mimicking actual life, it's mimicking a VCR. I don't know what else to say, guys. It's... I'm kind of glad. I would have been totally distracted had I not been warned. So I'm actually kind of glad, Mystic, you showed me this.
Shinji confirms her suspicions that something bad has happened to the island. Basically, she's like, this should have ended.
Right.
And informs her that the Syndicate needs her back. Once Shinji is gone, the player can explore the Idle Lands before picking up Starlight, which is like this AI digital assistant laptop thing. Basically, it's the way we collate all of our evidence and all that stuff.
Okay.
Judge calls and informs Loved Eyes that her exile is over and that she should fall onto the island, which won't hurt her.
Oh, good for her, I guess.
Once she reaches Judge, they give Lady an overview of the crime and the suspect. Along with this, Lady is informed that KHX is missing. Loved Eyes reassures Judge that she'll also find out what happened to KHX.
Mm-hmm.
And Loved Eyes is also provided with a timeline of the events from the night before and a sample of Henry's blood in order to help with the investigation. Basically, everyone thinks he did it at this point.
Right. Yeah. Well, also, he's a convenient scapegoat because he is a human who is possessed by a demon. So he is essentially chattel possessed by their enemy. So he's the equivalent of a demon cow.
And after we meet with Judge, we are basically given free reign to explore the island and can take as long or as little as we like finding evidence and talking to suspects before we start the trials.
Okay, cool.
We're not going to cover who or what happens because that would ruin the whole point of the game. I wanted to say this in the episode. We mentioned this before we recorded.
Yeah.
I didn't want to dive too deeply into the full game like we have done with Myst or Dear Esther because this is a very recent game within the past 2 years, and it's from a very small developer.
Right.
Dear Esther was a few years old by that point, And the experience is playing Dear Esther. It's not the story of Dear Esther.
You're not really doing spoilers when you talk of the story.
Right.
Because it's very, and the way that you go through it, it's not always the same. So
Right.
it's a very different experience.
So I don't want to give the court case away. I don't want to spoil that whole thing because that's the whole reason for the game.
Right.
So, but when the player is satisfied with the amount of evidence they've collected and is ready to start the trials, they talk to judge. And once the trials have started, there are different crimes that we're going to figure out. How did Henry Division escape his jail? Is one crime.
Okay.
How was he possessed in the first place 10 years ago? Is another crime.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right.
Who murdered Grace Bloodline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who killed the Holy Seal Marshals? So one of the main puzzles of this crime of killing the council is there are seals that protect the council. How did all 4 of them get taken out?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So who killed the Holy Seal Marshals? What happened to KHX?
Mm-hmm.
How were the 2nd and 3rd seals bypassed? And how was the 4th seal bypassed? Like, some of these are weird. Like, I think it was the 2nd seal is like a puzzle with obelisks that deals with a separate solar system.
Interesting.
So
wow.
it's not just like, oh, it's a key. It's like,
You're literally thinking across dimensions at that point.
Why is there a dead killer demon in the council chamber?
But everybody's blaming Henry Division? Because he released a demon because he's possessed by a demon. Okay,
yeah,
I
and
guess so.
Then, of course, who actually killed the council? Why?
Yeah.
And you can accuse almost anybody in the cast for any of the crimes.
So if you literally just say, look, Dr. Doomjazz, your name stinks. I'm going to accuse you.
Judge will say you don't have any evidence, or if you pick someone who doesn't have any evidence, judge will either blame Henry.
Oh wow.
Or will have no judgment at all. But if the provided evidence is deemed sufficient, then the accused will be convicted and executed.
Oh wow. Okay.
However, if there is enough solid evidence, then another character will be convicted or executed instead. But for some of these crimes, there's no conviction. It's just,
right.
I guess we don't have any info, so no one gets anything.
Right.
After all the crimes and conspiracies are covered at the trials, Lady Lovedyes will proceed to execute the convicted characters.
Whoa.
And after she has executed the convicted characters, she is given the title of Grand Investigator.
Interesting.
And is told by Judge that she'll reform the Paradise Psycho unit on Perfect 25.
Psycho unit?
Yeah, basically the one who hunts down demons and prevents that. And,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Once the trials are over, Lady Lovedyes can talk to characters that weren't executed and decide if they should be executed,
whoa,
exiled, or should be allowed to move on to the next island.
That's a lot of power. So basically you ran away I should say you were exiled for a while. You had nothing to do with it. And now because of this this extreme travesty, you come back and you can have all this power back.
Right.
That's insane.
And once she has done all of that, she leaves Island Sequence 24 in Lydia's car, either with or without Lydia, as she is a potential suspect in some of the crimes, so she could be potentially dead.
Oh, oh wow.
I will say one thing. There's a weird framing device in this game in that we cut back to a bar in Perfect 25.
Okay.
Where people are talking about the case.
Interesting.
And there's also this other subtext that Perfect 25 is perfect and resistant to demons because the concrete that's built there resists demons.
Oh wow, okay.
But there was a line I found in I can't remember if it was the wiki or not. It might have been the wiki. That therefore the demon influence is in the air. So there's room for
a sequel?
In the universe at least, if not the same gameplay. So that's where we're going to leave this episode because there's a lot in this episode already.
That was a lot. There was a lot of feelings with that one personally from me, especially names, as we all know. I have a hang up on. Man, that's crazy. So we'll see. It feels like a much more colorful version of Return of the Obra Dinn, which was the same idea where we were literally trying to figure out what happened and then cast judgment on these people. The difference was we weren't executioner. Almost everybody was dead.
Yeah.
You had to essentially decide, when people left and how. I don't know. This one feels a lot different because of how much power you get at the end of it, too.
Yeah.
Where Return of the Obra Dinn is much more about, the satisfaction of having the truth and deducting it. This feels like that might not be the only reason you'd play.
Right. I mean, there are people who absolutely love just the aesthetic of this world and walking around in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It looks like a fun place to be, despite the fact there's a lot of awful things going on in the background.
It's a crazy universe.
It sounds insane. It sounds absolutely insane, but like an entertaining kind of insane. The kind of insane that you're right. I probably would have fun playing this. But just catch us on the live stream the Thursday after, or like watch it on YouTube later, and and you'll see if I actually end up liking it as much as I think I will.
And then next episode, we're going back to one of our mainstay franchises.
Are we going back to Myst? Mystic is just deadpanning, just looking right at me. He's like, I'm not going to reveal anything. Elder Scrolls? Mass Effect? He's not revealing anything. All right. I'm gonna leave it alone for now.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks so much. We hope to catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.